Hiya, friends, family, other creatures of the sea. Welcome back. We have a best of 5 today between in the bottom right spawning as the red Protoss player Zest. And in the top left spawning as the blue Protoss player is going to be MaxPax, the king of the one gate himself. Series from the Pigsty Festival. Replays generously released into the public and open to our eyes. We have the cybernetics score going down on the side of both players. That cybernetics score here for Zest is a little bit faster, by the way. What's the timing on that? 16 seconds ago. God, I can't count backward. It's very difficult. This is what, 1:30? Wait, one more time. I'm gonna see when it finishes, and then I can judge whether it was really fast or MaxPax is just really late. MaxPax is just really late, actually. So a standard cybercore finishes at around 2 minutes. MaxPax's cybercore is gonna finish at 2 minutes and 10 seconds, which means he's legitimately 10 seconds late with his cybercore. He's gonna be able to get down that Nexus immediately. So does Zest, though. Zest will be opting here for that straight Stargate in the wall. Did finish the Zealot up, which is not great usually. It's not considered a great start. The moment, by the way, that MaxPax realized that it was a full wall, rather than going for an Adept, he swapped into a Stalker. So he cancelled the Adept that he was gonna be building, goes into a Stalker. Obviously, Adept not quite as useful if there is a full wall. Will still allow you to scout. We don't see a second unit coming out of Zest, which leads me to believe we're gonna be seeing a Phoenix Wars here. I'd be very surprised if this isn't a Phoenix Wars. There's... Oh. MaxPax moves up and doesn't lose anything. Now, in a Phoenix Wars, there's a couple of things we can look at for advantages. The first one being who has more Phoenixes, who has more probes. We see Zest currently up about 3 workers. Gets his third gas immediately, so does MaxPax over here. We have a second Stargate also going down. And most of the time, if you are not chronoing your Phoenixes, and you do not lose any of your early Phoenixes, that is better. But both players right now are chronoing Phoenixes, because it would mean that you get higher eco. I don't quite know why Zest has way higher amount of workers, though. That's kind of odd. I have to have a look into this, why that is exactly. Just up 3 workers for no real reason. There's 2 Stalkers on the side of MaxPax, and it's going to be a... Not a trade. I thought it was going to be a 1-for-1 trade, and then I saw the second Phoenix fly and I thought, oh, maybe it's going to be a 1-for-0 trade. But at the end of the day, I think that Zest manages to stay alive. Battery is coming up in his natural. Second Stargate is going to work as well. This is actually kind of nice here for MaxPax because he now... Oh my god, that pylon does fall. 3 Phoenixes against 3. MaxPax gets the better end of this trade at least. Going to be able to take out 2 Phoenixes, loses only a single one, and now can just keep chasing. I think MaxPax just straight up wins the game here immediately. Or almost immediately. He took out 1 pylon already. Now he's trying to target down that battery. Second Stargate does end up going down at this point. And MaxPax pulled ahead in worker. So he made up that 3 probe gap. Still has 2 Stalkers on the map as well. As we see MaxPax targeting down that battery. We'll be able to get that down. As the next Phoenix is now out as well here for Zest. Is also going to get taken out. MaxPax in a fantastic position here. Is going to lift the Stalker. Is he going to be capable of taking out this Phoenix? I'm not quite sure if he is going to be capable of that. The Stalker at least gets lifted. Unit lost heavily in favor here of the Danish Protoss player. Will take down that battery. I mean, he's just owning Zest. He's destroying him with, well, the first 4 units from the gateway, basically. GG gets called, and MaxPax wins game number 1 in this best of 5. And we'll be heading into game number 2. Game 2 is going to be played here on 2000 atmosphere. Normally I'd say something along the lines of, we're not going to be seeing a 1 gate versus 1 gate expand, because there's no ramp here, but knowing MaxPax a little bit, I just know that he likes the 1 gate expand anyway, so it's going to be getting that low ground pylon here. We'll see what the response is going to be out of Zest. When these 2 guys have played before, we have seen some 4 gates coming out of Zest with Adept openers. Curious to see if Zest still believes that is going to be the correct answer here to what MaxPax does. We'll have to wait and see. First gateway goes down on both sides. And we see a gateway scout coming out of Zest, which means he's going to be able to figure out pretty quickly here what is going on, and that is important. Because if he figures out what is going on, then he can respond to it. If he scouts after the second gateway, there's not a whole lot of responding he can do no more, because his path is already set. You know, it's so you start walking towards France if you're in Belgium, then midway through realizing you actually wanted to go to the Netherlands, which is the exact opposite direction for the people who are not aware of how Europe works. Second gas as well as a pylon here is being thrown down for MaxPax, so we'll delay his own Nexus a little bit. He'll need to. Sends out a probe immediately. Okay, he saw the second probe leave. So this is some high level stuff here, that's for sure. So we now have one probe on the map looking for a proxy. We have Zest with one probe on the map that's now going to be going home, which planted down a fake proxy, basically, is what it is. And he still wants to be hiding this probe for a bit as well. This is going to be one hell of an interesting game, let me tell you that much. And it's on Zest currently to... Oh? Wow, this is too obvious, no? MaxPax saw this probe timing and now should know that this wasn't a real proxy. Could be, unless the building is like over here, but it ain't, so... I think MaxPax kinda knows, but maybe he's not 100% sure. He managed to get the cancel on the Zealot, so this saves him 100 minerals. Gets down a faster Nexus, can go straight away into that Adept. Still looking for a pylon with one of the workers. Second worker is right now in the main base looking for, well, what's being created. Double Stalker. I think MaxPax should be pretty certain that this is actually just a fake proxy pylon. This is not a real proxy pylon. Just by all the information that he has gathered, and by the lack of seeing anything except for 2 stalkers so far, and the speed at which these stalkers were built, the timing of the probe coming back home at 2:03, that is 3 seconds after the tech usually goes down. I feel like the clues are very clear in what's happening here. I think that Adept might actually live, and now it dies. Did I get to see that there's a Nexus? Yes, it did. So Nexus confirmation is there. Are we lacking anything else here? I don't think so. Stalker's gonna take a little bit of damage. Second battery's on the way already, and the first Oracle's on the way out. Of course, the first Oracle is on the way out. The reason for it being an Oracle, not a Void Ray, is because MaxPax is very well aware of what is happening here. He knows, hey, this ain't real. This is it's not merely a simulation, but it's pretty darn close. Super battery gets used here, and the Stalker will survive for now. Second battery will get up in time as well, and as the second Stalker and the Warp Gate are about to finish up, I think that MaxPax is going to be in a just fine position. So this battery is actually getting drained faster than I thought it would. Is there anything at home? There's a battery at home. Is that going to be enough? Yeah, I think so. Battery at home. Perhaps we'll try to get a stasis ward down because of that. That's exactly what we're seeing here, as we see a preemptive pull out of Zest. It's gonna perhaps get a bunch of these probe stasis. 4, 5 workers get stasis. And MaxPax already had a probe lead, which means that the income will be in favor of the Danish Protoss. And for the second game in a row here, he's looking very solid in this series. Ken is showing up Zest so far, saying, hey, I know how to play this game. I know that you know how to play this game. But I also know how to play this game. Has the sentry actually died? Where's the sentry out of Zest? Must have gone down. I missed that happening. My apologies. Not quite sure how that died. It must have been rallied into these stalkers. Yeah, this stalker has a kill. And so far only a sentry has gone down on the side of Zest, so it must be that sentry kill. And I think as a response to killing that sentry, MaxPax decided to throw down this Dark Shrine. We do not have a robotics facility. No, instead we have a Dark Shrine on the side here of Zest. MaxPax awfully unaware of that though. I think we'll see a robotics facility come down over here. This feels like a robotics facility pylon, you know? The type of pylon it really looks like. Third base is not going to be possible yet here, as Oracle might be in a little bit of trouble. Is gonna tank 3 shots out of stalkers, but will survive for now. 2 more stalkers make their way across the map, looking for some damage on that Oracle. Blink is close to being done as well, about 30 seconds off. Pylon gets up on the potential 4th base here for Zest. This robotics facility also starts, but the Dark Shrine is done at this point, and 2 DTs could start getting warped in here. Yeah, there is. The gateways are here. First DT. Second DT. We have this Oracle out as well, so it's going to be a little bit of a DT mirror at this point. And Zest is still a solid 20-ish seconds away from having any type of detection. Now, these two DTs will make their way across the map. Let's have a look. This first-person view here out of Zest. Okay, the Oracle might get taken down. No, will stay alive for now. Can get recalled as well. Zest, not paying attention. Now sees the Dark Templar. At least could have seen it. And immediately starts responding. Doesn't quite have that robotics facility done yet. 7 workers have gone down. Cannon is going down on the side of MaxPax, as we're seeing here. And he has a full wall, or well, a full wall. Practically a full wall. Is MaxPax paying attention? Let's take a look at the other side. Oh, this pylon might get taken out. Oh, in a lot of trouble right now, Zest. GG gets called. Yep. Full wall out of MaxPax. And MaxPax 2-0 in this series currently. That's a big deal. Game number 3 here is going to be played on Blackburn. And once again, Blackburn is one of them maps with a ramp. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a quick gateway on the low ground out of both players. Once again, MaxPax a little bit late with that first gateway, as he first wants to always get those minerals from the natural and bring them back into the main base. Gives him 5 more minerals, but does delay his first pylon and his gateway. It's not great, I think, if you want to rely on getting a very fast Stargate most games. It's a little bit of a mistake there. I do believe that's not the correct play. It's down 2 seconds in time. Of course, these things aren't huge, but still, it's 2 seconds that you could be earlier, and it might be the difference between Phoenix 3 being out in time and Phoenix 3 not being out in time in case you're being attacked by something. Like, there's a lot of scenarios in which I could see it actually mattering, those 2-3 extra seconds. But for now, it seems like MaxPax isn't too worried about that whatsoever. Zest opening up with the similar opener as well once again. So we have 15 workers on minerals for both players, it seems like. No, just 14 on minerals here for MaxPax, who had 2 probes chasing. That cost him a bit. Zest control has been good so far. But is he going to allow MaxPax to throw down that Nexus once again? Or will he not? MaxPax should probably go move down towards that area at this point. Exactly what he's going to be doing right now. And I think Zest will be slightly too late. Still the possibility of cancelling that Zealot here and cancelling... I think he could have gotten that. Cancel 1 more worker and cancel that Zealot and he would have been there in time. MaxPax always wants to get that done. I think he lost his probe on the other side of the map actually. It's a painful reality of things. Gets to cancel the Zealot. This is a very big start here. MaxPax goes for the full wall as well. Losing that probe on the other side is always very painful because you're lacking the information if the Stargate even gets built, because let's be real here, we don't actually know at this point. And B, if that Stargate is built, what's the first unit that's coming out? Could be an Oracle, could be a Phoenix, could be a Void Ray. Void Ray doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's all possible. And Zest at the same time still has this probe life. This Stalker's getting rallied outside of the natural. It's going to be able to deal with this Zealot. I'm surprised that Zest decided to let that Zealot finish, honestly. Because now it feels like if this probe just goes back home, if this probe finds its way back home, MaxPax is actually going to be in a fantastic position. He just needs to click it home, I feel like, at this point, because it will be a Phoenix War, and he will be capable of just building a 3rd base. Of course, he can still bug out his probe as well, but that will cost him a little bit extra. Maybe just wants to scout a bit more in the main base. Battery going down on the side of Zest. No battery going down on the side of MaxPax, so MaxPax going for the big play. MaxPax also realizing there's not a full wall here, and decides, you know what, I can get away with a 2nd unit as an adept. That's indeed what he's going to be doing here. Sees no battery in the main. And Zest preparing for that Phoenix War, which he... well, he fell in earlier in this series, in the first game. See if MaxPax is going to be capable of pulling another trick like that. Both players currently on 2 Phoenixes. MaxPax's 3rd Phoenix is delayed by about 15 seconds. Still a probe hanging around in the main base. Which means that, for both players actually, that both players have almost full information and are aware that this is going to be a clean Phoenix Wars. There's no tricks, no Twilight Councils going down as of yet. It's going to be Phoenix against more Phoenix. Fort Gas is being taken here as well for Zest and keeps his Phoenixes at home. We see the map control kind of going towards MaxPax, who decided that he is allowed to be on the map and no one else is. Of course, with a Stalker on the map, that might actually be the case. Will be capable of taking out this probe and maybe even get a cancel on this pylon as well. Oh! MaxPax needs to be very careful here, as it's 5 Phoenixes against 4. Whereas that 5th Phoenix here for MaxPax is just fallen behind for no real reason in the Phoenix count, it feels like. A couple more Chronos perhaps out of Zest, but Zest also up in Worker, so just a good start overall here for Zest, who perhaps because he didn't invest into those gateway units, now is just going to be up a little bit. It's a good start here for the Korean Protoss player, who definitely needs a big dub in this game, otherwise this series will end in a painful 0-3 to the young Dane. Pylons are being spread around the map, making sure to provide some vision for himself, knowing where his opponent is going to be. We see the fleet beacon being started on both ends, and this should be a relatively close mirror game, in my opinion. 7 Phoenixes for MaxPax, 6 for Zest, and both players will get a Nexus at around the same time as well, just before they start their Ani-Impulse crystals. They'll be floating a little bit of minerals, that's how it usually is, and at that point you can throw down your Nexus and afterwards straight away start your Ani-Impulse crystals. So we even see a lot of Chrono Boost on these Phoenixes, which is odd to see. I'll talk about that later, but it is an odd thing to see so many Chrono Boost on Phoenixes, unless it's the first few Phoenixes. I don't even quite know who has the lead right now. It is going to be Zest with 10 Phoenixes against 9. I think all 10 Phoenixes are here, which means that, hey, fight well, this is 10 against 10 again. And now we have a good clump up here for MaxPax. Takes out 1 Phoenix for free. The reason why very often here, this is the reason. See this? This is why chronoing Phoenixes tends to be bad. It's because before you have the saturation on that third base gas, is you don't have enough gas to continuously produce these Phoenixes and get the Ani-Impulse crystals as well. So you actually stop with the chrono on the Stargates usually for a while and chrono that either into the Ani-Impulse or into the probes. You see, that's exactly what MaxPax did here. So he had constant Phoenix production and has faster Ani-Impulse crystals, even though he actually had a slightly delayed fleet beacon, like 2 or 3 seconds. And now he's going to be looking for a timing. I'm not saying that this timing is necessarily going to be a kill timing. I'm not saying that this timing is going to win the game for MaxPax, but there is a timing, or there was a timing, that now has disappeared, of about 15 to 16 seconds. And that can be very scary. If you have 2 more range on your Phoenixes, yeah, that can be game-changing. This fight, no clue what happened here, but just a 1-for-1 trade, I guess. As Zest immediately goes into the gold base, very low on the worker count, and decides to just keep expanding towards gas rather than caring more about minerals. Third Stargate also going down for both players at about the same time. But that fast forward base is an interesting one, especially because it's at the gold base, of course. That's going to give an additional benefit for someone with lower worker counts. There's a lot of gas being mined as for whatever reason, MaxPax is always the one that wants to be on the map. He says, hey, I think my control is so good with these Phoenixes that I'm just always going to be winning. And so far, well, it seems like these trades are actually pretty darn even. 5 Phoenixes lost in total on the side of Zest, but and only 4 on MaxPax. But that's because of that 1 Phoenix that died over here in the early game. Oh, this is not a good trade here for MaxPax. Loses 2 Phoenixes and kills 2 as well. So it's a fine trade for MaxPax. It's an even trade. Actually thought he only killed 1 there, but I wasn't quite correct. Carrier production has started for Zest. We have the Phoenix production still going on, +1 starting on the side of Zest as well. So there's a lot of gas investment here into things that aren't quite going to be too helpful. We see a small lead here in the Phoenixes for MaxPax. Once this first carrier is out, however, then the interceptors will kind of... Oh my god, this probe is actually going to get this pylon eventually. These interceptors will function as a tank for these Phoenixes, but until that moment, MaxPax wants to trade, and he's trading pretty darn well. Now these interceptors, they tanked a lot of shots, and that ended up going pretty okay there for Zest. Don't forget that there's a lot of overkill on these Phoenix shots into the interceptors, because they're all stacked up, they're all shooting at the same unit, the one that's the most threatening, and those are interceptors. So that is why once the carrier is out, it can be really tricky to fight against the Phoenix carrier army. We'll see immediately what the response is going to be out of MaxPax. He's going to actually continue, or straight go into carrier production, while Zest continues Phoenix production. So Zest really just saying, hey, I want to get a couple of carriers out, so I can maybe get a good fight at some point. But afterwards, I'm going to go back into Phoenix production, and maybe we can fight Phoenix versus Phoenix, and I can just straight up beat you. And that seems to be the plan here. Maybe it's even for some type of rush, where the Phoenix kind of function as a quicker reinforcement. And this is a fantastic trade here for Zest, honestly. These interceptors tanking so much. And because interceptors are just purely minerals and they're not being built out of a Stargate, it doesn't cut your other production time. This is a great little move here out of Zest. A brilliant little innovation, the double carrier into more Phoenixes. And I just love this. The interceptors just kind of acting as a meat shield, as a dummy to tank the damage for these Phoenixes. The reinforcements, Phoenixes of Zest are just doing the rest here. Awful mid-game here for MaxPax, who's getting completely blasted by the Korean toss. Beautiful play, absolutely beautiful play. 3 carriers are now out for MaxPax, but the Phoenixes aren't here to quite defend them. The Phoenix count for Zest now is so large that I don't even think that MaxPax can kind of turn this trick onto him, because 24 Phoenixes against 10, 2 carriers against 3. It's just a huge lead here for the Korean Protoss player, who still is mining from the gold base. He does have the 8 gases and is taking a 5th base all at the same time. Quicker upgrades as well. This has been a bit of a masterclass here in Phoenix versus Phoenix. And I honestly thought that MaxPax was the master of the Stargate versus Stargate, but it seems like he still has a trick or two to learn here, and Zest is showing him all of the tricks of the trade. All the tricks of the trade. Alright, what else do we have right now? A couple of pylons going down at that gold 4th base. Carriers being produced out of the Stargate still, and Zest also going back into carrier production. So not only does he say, I want to have that superior Phoenix count, perhaps for some harass, perhaps for some smaller trades, but I also want to, of course, get a crap ton of carriers. I wouldn't mind if either player decides to throw down a sentry as well. Sentries can be very useful in these situations with their Guardian Shield, providing +2 armor. Yeah, this is a fight that MaxPax just can't take, and MaxPax is just going to arrive too late. Every single time, the moment that these Phoenixes try to run in somewhere. Carriers just got recalled. Went to the 4th base. There's 7 carriers on the side of MaxPax with +1. 4 more carriers on the way for Zest. So he's also moving into that higher carrier count right now with 5 carriers. +1 quicker for Zest. No shields though on the way for the Korean toss. Well, there is shields on the way for MaxPax. MaxPax is just a little bit poorer than his opponent, and also just still down in the Phoenix count. And I'm surprised that he decides to actually attack here. He is up 4 carriers. He's going to be down an upgrade soon. Interceptors are out. 69 interceptors for MaxPax against 43. 30 Phoenixes against 11. Here comes Zest, moves forward. And we see some target fire on these carriers, just ignoring these Phoenixes altogether. I'm not quite sure if this is the fight that Zest was hoping for. He loses almost all of his carriers. Only takes out 3 of his opponents. Still 29 Phoenix against 9 though. I think now Zest is going to try to pick up some of the reinforcement carriers here, and that could be a very big play. There's one more carrier and try to join up with this army. I think MaxPax needs to push right now, as he's kind of on a timer. However, there's also +2 here already for Zest, and +2 isn't quite done yet for MaxPax. MaxPax can't go back, he's not gonna go back. These Phoenixes will be capable of clearing a bunch of mineral lines and then perhaps return home in combination with a super battery. Actually, super battery is not available. There is a real opportunity here for MaxPax, who right now has all of his interceptors out already. He's going to be going for this pylon, and without this pylon there's no reinforcements. Oh, there's one more pylon. That one also gets targeted down. Now we have a bit of a flank. We see Zest trying to get all of his interceptors out by attacking his own nexus. Here comes the focus fire. Is it going to be good enough? +2 upgrades are really doing a number on MaxPax right here, as air weapons level 2 finishes just as the fight ends. But the target fire of these Phoenixes on the carriers just a little bit too good. And I think that this, ladies and gentlemen, might actually just be it. It's the Phoenix Force reigns supreme. The powerful mid-game of Zest, just a little bit too good for MaxPax to come back. He tried his best, but I don't think this is going to be it. 27 Phoenix is still alive. GG gets called here. Zest wins game number 3, puts himself on the board, and makes this a series. Game number 3 here is going to be on Hardwire, one of the smaller maps in the map pool. At least, well, one of the smaller maps. We have Berlingrad, Curious Minds, and I think Hardwire is the 3rd or the 4th smallest map. It's not all that large, it's not all that small. We see MaxPax opening up with a low ground expand once again. I want to see what Zest decides to do against this. Actually kind of curious here. Decides to continue scouting. That's what he's going to do. Immediately sends out that second probe, though. And we saw what he tried to do on that... was it on 2000 Atmospheres where he did that? That second game, in which he tried to hide the pylon. It didn't really work out completely. We'll see if it's going to be the case here as well. Immediately, MaxPax sends out his worker, though. He's like, okay, you send out your worker, I send out my worker. And we're going to have a buzzing good old time, you know? We're going to have a nice little time looking for each other. Once again, going to be a fake proxy pylon out of Zest. And we'll see if he's capable of hiding the fact that his probe came back a little bit better this time around. Take a look at that first person vision out of MaxPax. MaxPax actually not seeing that probe return. So that could be an issue, in which MaxPax still believes that probe is out there. Zest immediately starts his first two stalkers, delays his warp gate a little bit on purpose. So that warp gate was about, what, 4 or 5 seconds delayed. And that kind of tells your opponent, hey, I probably built a tech building somewhere on the map. Go find it, buddy. Good luck. And yeah, if MaxPax is not going to be capable of finding that, that could be a real issue. That could be a real issue. If MaxPax doesn't see this pylon straight away, he's going to see this pylon straight away. Why am I even worried, honestly? Why do I worry about MaxPax not finding things? He always finds these things. Wouldn't have found it if it was over here. Wouldn't have found it if it was over here. But the pylon is in this location. It's just going to get spotted immediately here. Twilight Council does come down very quickly for Zest. So it's a fake proxy pylon into a Twilight Council at home. Oh, this is absolutely crazy. This is a very cool opener here out of Zest, and I do like this. I'm curious to see if there's going to be a third gate in the wall here as a follow-up, or if we're going to see a Nexus after he cancels his cybernetic score. So far, looks like a pretty darn decent start here for Zest. He's going to be able to take out one probe as well. Gets a little bit of damage on one of his stalkers. Adept almost gets in, but not quite. And as there's no Nexus on the way yet, it actually... well, there's no Nexus on the way yet either for MaxPax. So MaxPax is going to be late with his Nexus. Zest is late with his Nexus. Both players basically opened up with a tech before Nexus. And the only advantage that MaxPax does have is A, that he has an Oracle, which tends to be quite big in these situations for scalding, but also for potentially doing some damage. And B, the fact that MaxPax is just up in worker, so he's going to be mining a little bit more. The problem is that well, his Oracle could have gotten that probe, but he got greedy, wanted to go into the mineral line and get nothing instead. We have a bunch of units being warped in right now, and this Oracle will not be capable of doing too much damage. The Nexus is pretty much going up here for free. Blink difference is going to be kind of huge though. And that is something that I maybe didn't completely expect. Is how far Zest is going to be ahead in Blink right now. That's by, well, basically a minute and a half. It's going to be more even. It's probably going to be 100 or 110 seconds. Almost a full 2 minutes in which Zest will have Blink and his opponent will not have Blink. That can be kind of huge. That actually can be kind of huge. We see another chrono boost on this blink. It's going to use the hallucination to scout rather than to try and blink into his opponent's base. I'm curious to see what Zest actually has planned here with these stalkers now that blink is complete. Does he just want to kill this Oracle, or does he want to get more done with it? That's the real question, of course. Void Ray is going to help defending if a blink attack would occur. But if a blink attack doesn't occur, then the Void Ray is a little bit less useful. It's still gonna deal a crap ton of damage, obviously, because that's really what Void Rays are good at. It's just dealing damage. But seeing Zest just rush out Blink with, what, 2-3 chrono boost and then sitting at home is a little bit of a surprise here. Maybe wants to get a Blink on top of these Oracles. No, he's kind of pretending almost here, saying, hey, I don't actually have Blink yet. Just come in, buddy. Just move forward. You can do it. You can do it. Third base is going down on the side of MaxPax. Robotics facility has gone down on the side of Zest, so afraid of these MaxPax Dark Templar. Third base goes down for both players as well, as we have it's a very passive game out of a guy that rushed Blink with 3-4 chrono boost. I am surprised. I actually am very surprised here that this is what happened. I really didn't think it would. Oracle is still flying around, looking for damage. not gonna find it if he keeps flying in this bottom right side. MaxPax moving out at this point is it feels like it's a little bit much, no? It's not like he's so far ahead in the stalker count. He has 3 less stalkers. Does have the Void Ray. Observer spots everything here as well. Sees that stasis ward. I mean, Zest kind of laughs at that at this point. Warps in 2 more stalkers and has +1 done. So I don't think MaxPax can fight this. I really don't think so. Zest takes out that Oracle. If he ever gets the blink down here, this is just a fight that's not going to go well for MaxPax whatsoever. He's going to get absolutely blasted here. He's down an upgrade. He's down 3 stalkers. Blink forward out of Zest. Going to be able to dish out a crap ton of damage here. MaxPax in a bunch of trouble. Still up 4 workers, but yeah, loses a lot there. Really did lose a lot. 1500 resources lost for MaxPax against the 360 on the side of Zest. Painful start. Painful start for the young Danish Protoss player. He's throwing down a battery quickly on his own side. Doesn't have a robotics facility yet. He's now throwing it down. Doesn't have an Oracle anymore. Dark Templar or something that he perhaps is afraid of. Double Adept gets warped in for a counterattack. It's going to get spotted here by this Observer. So the counterattack is not going to work out. No, that counterattack is going to get caught by Zest, his own 2 Adepts. Are the Blink Stalkers close enough? No, they're not really. The target fire out of Zest is just a little bit better. And now Zest is kind of swooping around here. Might be able to take a pretty decent fight with... Oh, lost one of the Adepts. 1-for-1 trade. +2 halfway done as well for Zest. Zest just looking kind of dominant in this game so far. It's not necessarily super far ahead, but every move that MaxPax tried to pull hasn't worked out. 2 more workers go down on the side of MaxPax. This Adept continues its reign of terror. Takes out 2 more workers. The other side, I think that Adept might have killed 1 worker, but not much more than that. Then we see Zest moving in towards a Zealot charge. Well, actually, maybe still a Stalker-centric mid-game. I was gonna say this looks to be into like a Zealot Archon, but it's gonna be a Templar Archives. But the Stalker count is just so large at this point that I guess it gives him some type of map control, maybe some type of safety that he wouldn't have had if he's only on 10, 12, or 13 Stalkers. Gives him a bunch of gas. These rocks get targeted down as the Immortal stays alive because nothing is attacking it. Not quite sure why I said that. These 2 Observers kiss in the middle of the map. Romeo and Juliet over here. But what are they called? It's not the Crips and the Bloods. Those are actual gangs. What are the families called of Romeo? I can't recall for a second. Oh, we'll get to that later. I'm sure it will pop back into my head. That's what these Observers were. Forbidden love. Then they died. Very sad story. +2 is finished on the side of Zest here. There's a Prism with it as well. 2 Archons coming in soon. More Zealots are being warped in. 1 DT is being warped in on the side of MaxPax, but the Observer will spot that out immediately and it will get taken out. His position is kind of awkward as well for MaxPax. I don't think he will be capable of holding this. Stalker count is dwindling. Super Battery is helping out, but the Blink Forward will make short work of that with the Immortal targeting down this pylon. So a lot of DPS actually being wasted here out of Zest. Actually a crap ton of DPS being wasted, but I think there's just too many units. 2 DTs are coming in right now. This Observer is still in Observer mode over here. Zest, you need to pay attention. Oh, Disruptor. Can it take... Oh, not the greatest control on that Disruptor shot. If it gets 5-6 Zealots there, it might be a completely different game, because then all of a sudden there's 1 Archon and a bunch of Stalkers, and let's be real, the control out of Zest hasn't been all that great. It's been MaxPax that has been doing the good controlling in this fight. Zest just had way better upgrades, way bigger army, and a better army as well. GG gets called, and the Theories is all tied up. 2-2. Game number 5 on one of the larger maps in this map pool. Glittering Ashes. Which is a very large map. Once again, see a 1 gate expand coming out of MaxPax. And once again, we see that quick scout coming out of Zest. We'll see if he's capable of getting himself into a similar position to last game. Even though I don't even think that was necessarily that great. Zest did end up winning the game, but it was more due to MaxPax's over-aggression than to Zest's brilliant early game opener. I did feel like the opener was good, but it didn't quite achieve an amazing amount for how in the dark MaxPax really was for such a long time. How late his blink really was in that last game. Feels like Zest is having some trouble perhaps getting an edge over the Danish player, and really, at least in the early game, and needs to really have it from the mid game. Oh my god, his Nexus goes down. Oh, that's a crime. That's an illegal play. He absolutely blasted Zest there. That really is quite painful. This time around, Zest will probably proxy something real. No, he's just gonna go back home again. So this man only has one build and is proxying a fake pylon, then going back home. I mean, if he gets spotted this early, it's just so obvious what happens. You need to, you just need to hide that probe. It's actually just the way of the world. Stalker comes out. Warp Gate gets delayed. Now the Warp Gate should start. There we go. We see it go down. I'm not really feeling this though for Zest. This would have been great if a Zealot had been built, if this Nexus had been delayed. But now? Is this really what you want? What you really, really want? Montagues and Capulets. There we go. That's the Romeo and Juliet families. Huh. I just got it all of a sudden. Nice. Probably should have Googled it in between the games. Is what it is. Twilight Council once again coming down here for Zest. So similar opener. And you could say, well, last game it wasn't too bad, right? The game ended up being even. Let's not forget that last game he also had a Cybercore cancel on his opponent's natural. He delayed his opponent's natural for so long that MaxPax wasn't mining all that much more. In this case, however, this Nexus is done before Zest's Nexus even finishes, or even starts. Void Ray first is going to be the weapon of choice, and that is a very... Oh my god. Oh good lord. Oh lordy. Proxy Nexus. Okay. You probably should just poke up and see that Twilight at least. Didn't spot it. Void Ray is out. Second Void Ray on the way. I mean, everything here screams one base, right? Just this entire setup is just a one base setup. That's what it feels like. MaxPax hasn't scouted this area yet. He could go there. He's looking for close by locations, however. That's not where you're gonna find what your opponent is doing. Now the funny thing here is that Zest is afraid of an Oracle. Well, it is MaxPax who's actually just building Void Rays and is just extremely scared. The funny thing here is that even though MaxPax is afraid and is building cannons and is throwing out these Void Rays, MaxPax still is up in workers and is still an uncomfortable situation here for Zest. This is not like this is a free win for Zest whatsoever. No, it's an even game and Zest has a really uncomfortable base. Like, it's both players will be feeling uncomfortable in this game. It's just the sad reality here. It really just is the sad reality. And I'm curious to see what MaxPax's follow-up is. Is he gonna go into a robotics facility at some point? Like, what is the plan here? What is it that MaxPax wants to do? I don't know what the answer is to that. I just don't know. Stalker's gonna tank some damage though. Blink is about to finish up. It's not enough Stalkers, that's for sure. I could have seen that. Blink finishes up. There's no high ground vision though. 40 workers right now. In favor of MaxPax. 40 against 35. I think a pylon here got taken out on the low ground. Oh my god. No, he sees it, he sees it. Sees the proxy base right now. Uh-oh. Cancel that cannon, my friend. Yeah. MaxPax is not gonna be happy with this. It's 2-2 right now. This is a bad situation. Stars and Oracle? I mean, is that going to be enough, though? You're literally playing with pure Void Ray against 11 Stalkers, against a player that's up in workers slightly, sure slightly, has a massive mobility advantage here with these Stalkers. A massive mobility advantage. Taking a third base is going to be near impossible for Zest, or for MaxPax. Well, Zest already is getting his own third base, and it's being built at the natural location. The only thing that does surprise me is that we don't see not a single battery here in the main base. That's actually kind of painful. That actually is kind of painful. Nice, Oracle is going to get spotted. There was a warp in available. So it's very nice here for Zest. He's going to be able to even blink after this Oracle. Is he going to be able to shoot it down? No, not quite, but takes a bunch of hull damage as well. Means that MaxPax is in an even worse position than before. I don't really see a way out of here for MaxPax. Throws down a Dark Shrine. Perhaps that is the way out, but I have a very bad feeling about this. Second Oracle is out on the map as well. Hallucination is going to spot it and Zest immediately moves into action. That's a dead Oracle. That's a dead Oracle, my friend. One blink forward and bang. Bang. You're dead. Oracle in the natural, or well, the third base, but the natural location of Zest is also going to get pushed away by these Stalkers. I think took even a little bit more of full damage. It's a low Oracle at this point. 48 workers against 45. Third base on the way for Zest. Third base done for Zest. Zest slightly down in upgrades. We'll give that to our good friend MaxPax. Production in favor of MaxPax, for sure. Income in favor of Zest, at least. It should be soon. Once this third base starts getting saturated. Is there a battery here? There is a battery. There's even a cannon on the way. This Dark Shrine's about to finish up. There is a possibility that DTs on the other side of the map will be able to do something. But it's a very small possibility, honestly. I think at this point the only thing that MaxPax really can do is sit back, relax and hope for the best. And it seems to be exactly what he is doing right now. Stalker's moving forward. Zest looking for some damage. Cut some of his worker production though, that's kind of surprising. DT is about to start walking into the natural. There's nothing in the main base. There's a cannon in the natural which semi-protects the ramp. If Zest is very quick, perhaps he can respond to this. No, not quite. Might need to see... Oh, actually there's a cannon in the main base. What an odd positioning for a cannon there, huh? It's gonna defend the mineral line at least with its detection. Zest actually not looking that hot when it comes to supply, and it does have that odd third base. It's not the position you want it to be in. Zest might be capable of getting this Oracle. Yep, Oracle goes down. Second Oracle that does go down this game. Feels like Zest has been just cutting workers for no real reason. Now throws down the Templar Archives. But with the Templar Archives, I wouldn't mind if he had a little more gas already. So the low worker count makes even less sense. Disruptor's going to be the answer. One Disruptor on the way. 4 Void Rays are out, which is a lot of kind of that instant burst damage that can last for a couple of seconds with that prismatic alignment. So blinking into Disruptors is going to be painful. Void Rays kind of function as an immortal in a similar way, where you can just blink into your opponent's army anymore. That's going to make these Disruptors a lot more viable as a tool into the game. However, with these Archons coming out, +2 on the way, it is completely possible we're going to see a repeat of that last game, where Zest decides it's time to die for MaxPax, and that's actually what happens. Is a real possibility. Shadow Stride being researched here. So MaxPax is looking for some damage with Blink DTs soon. Lots of observers here as well, by the way. One observer here, one observer forward. Zest is just up 40 supply, and I think these Void Rays are good, but this is not the type of fight that you're gonna win if you're MaxPax, majority of the time. You're gonna get some really good Disruptor shots. That's a decent first Disruptor shot. Second Disruptor shot doesn't finish. The Stasis Ward is actually helping out. These Void Rays are dealing a lot of damage. Prism gets sniped. MaxPax. Cannons in the natural that he built for the early game are now actually helping out. 2 more cannons over here are helping out. I think MaxPax actually kind of helped this. There's still a lot of money in the bank here. These Stalkers are gonna die because their blink is still off cooldown. That's 5 more units that will go down. I'm not saying that MaxPax is now in the lead, but if that +2 finishes, he'll have superior tech. He'll have a third base that is in a normal position. His fourth is delayed. I'll give that to Zest once again. Once again, a faster base there. But this looks actually pretty good. I thought this game was completely over. 40 supply lead here for Zest. It's gonna throw it straight out of the window by having one of the worst fights in the history of PvP. And MaxPax says, thank you very much. I'd like to do that again sometime in the future, my friend. Shadow Stride also about to finish up. Do we have any DTs on the map? No. These are 4 Zealots. It's kind of hopeful there. Zest could be going for this base, but he's not. Zest says, hey, I kind of want to defend that right side base. No, now Zest is going to go in and goes for a semi-base trading move. A lot of Blink Stalkers already. This could actually work if he gets these cannons down quickly. Interesting Blink for it. I don't really like it too much, though. That was a very late Blink. And at this point, it felt pretty dangerous. Can he blink away? Yes, he barely can. So gets out with majority of his units. Now these Stalkers are looking for some damage. 25 Stalkers versus 25 Stalkers total. 4 Disruptors on the side of MaxPax. 4 Void Rays on the side of MaxPax. MaxPax actually in a lead here. Well, you see Zest getting his +1 armor. I'd be surprised if MaxPax decides to push the issue here. I don't think that's the play. Probably does need to return at some point. Needs to return home. These DTs gonna be looking for some major damage here. With only a single cannon, no other forms of detection there. That's gonna be a dead base. Shadow Stride is of course available. Batteries are being taken out. Thinks that MaxPax actually wants to take out this base and another base at the same time. And it might just work. Do we have any type of detection here? We have a recall available. It gets used. Shadow Stride's not going to be available, but 2 of these DTs are going to get out. These DTs are still doing a fair amount of damage, so... And there's nothing at home. There's just simply nothing at home. Blink forward, Disruptor gets taken out. MaxPax pulled the trigger, and he did this really quickly. DT's now going back towards that top base as well. There's 1 Disruptor on the high ground. I don't think MaxPax has vision of that. He'll need to respond quickly with a Blink. We'll see if... the trigger finger is once again good enough. High ground now gets spotted. Zest won't even get to use that Disruptor. Gets taken out before anything happens. High ground position taken here for MaxPax. Where are those 2 DTs? Oh, kind of pausing for a moment. And now they'll continue on. But this was an absolutely fabulous trade. There's nothing left here to defend. Except for this observer that I missed. Hidden behind the health bars. Could hardly see it. It's my bad. DTs do manage to walk away, but 17 workers have gone down on the side of Zest. And it's just looking dark. Oh, so dark here for the Korean Protoss player. 10 DTs out on the map. It's another rotation coming in towards the far right side. Will probably end up going into the natural. Top left base finally gets taken out here by this Void Ray Stalker Zealot army. And Zest with the throw of a lifetime. Up 50 supply. We'll see if he can... once again, make this game spin all around. Big 180-degree spin. I don't think it's going to be possible, though, as the superior tech is in the hands of MaxPax. The better economy is in the hands of MaxPax. Upgrades are actually in favor of Zest, but everything else is MaxPax favored here. This 3rd base is going to get taken out by these DTs, most likely. Blink on top of the cannon. And all of these probes will fall. MaxPax returns after losing his own 4th base, but it's going to be 3 base against 2. The worker count 60 against 36. And the probe massacre hasn't quite ended yet. A couple more ended up going down there. This DT will fall in the end as well. DTs on this 4th base might actually go down as well. So that's actually making some pretty big plays here. Sniping a lot of these Disruptors. Now these Stalkers are going to be in a little bit of trouble. We have a big warp in over here. Blink is 2-3 seconds away. GG gets scalded. As Zest does not see a future for him anymore in the game, and MaxPax wins the series 3-2 in a very exciting best of 5 here between these 2 extremely high-level PvP players. Alright, that's going to be it for me today. If you did enjoy, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you all next time for a new video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.